Last day of the build on this STI. We're gonna be putting in a couple more GrimmSpeed things before our tune date tomorrow. Right now we're just gonna push it out into the sun so that we can get some of that delicious vitamin D that we Minnesotans don't get very often. And we'll finish up this build. It's day 4 of the build, and this car has gone through a bunch of changes, as many changes as the Minnesota weather. You saw it was snowing on the first day, raining on the second, pretty much fall on the third, and now we have a summer day on the 4th. For the car, we've done a lot of fueling mods. We've done the GrimmSpeed downpipe and uppipe, as well as the AOS. Today we're going to be doing the GrimmSpeed intercooler, intake, and BCS. The first thing I'm going to start with is taking this little cover off to reveal the OEM 2-port boost controller. We're going to replace it with the GS 3-port. So we'll just take a couple of these bolts off and then reroute the hoses.
Doing here, Muchee?
Alright, so I am reinstalling the OEM white pipe onto this the new GrimmSpeed top mount intercooler. So before I do so, I'm just going to replace the OEM gasket. As you can see, I cleaned up the OEM white pipe. When you do remove it from the OEM intercooler, there's going to be a little bit of a gasket, you know, left over. Use like kind of like a sharp razor or something like that. Just scrape it off, just so that you have a flat surface for that extra security. There you have it.
The boost controller install was super simple. Muchee is just putting the zip ties on all the hoses. I'm working on prepping the intake, so basically getting the filter on onto the tube, getting the MAF sensor on, and then all of this rubber gasket along the side. The install for this should be really easy too, so follow along, we'll show you how it's done. The intake's all buttoned up. That went really quickly. One of our last steps on this thing is to throw the intercooler back on. There could be a little finagling, especially with the 15 Plus chassis. It's a little bit tighter with the firewall, but let's see if we can do it easily. All right, it's pretty much a wrap for day 4. We've put on a couple new parts today. It was really easy. We got to enjoy the sun. Let me do a bit of a recap while Muchee puts on one of the final pieces, the GrimmSpeed lightweight battery tie down. So today we started with replacing the OEM 2-port boost controller with the GrimmSpeed 3-port unit. Relatively easy. It was just a matter of routing some hoses and getting this bracket off. Next we moved on to the GrimmSpeed Stealthbox intake. Again, very easy install. Once the OEM stuff came off, everything fits up really well. Bolts in, no trouble there. The one that gave us a little bit of trouble is the intercooler. There's, like I mentioned before, not a whole lot of space up here, especially with this trim. So to be able to get the Y pipe on the turbo and then the throttle body coupler on here was a little bit of a challenge, but we managed to make it happen. We threw on a couple of the trim pieces that we took off before, and with this, we should be finished up inside the engine bay. Next, we're going to be loading up the access port tune that we got from JM, which is where we're going to be tuning tomorrow. They were awesome enough to send us a base map for the fueling mods and some of the other stuff we threw on, so we're going to be able to actually drive it there instead of towing it. And that's something that I like to stress too with a lot of these mods. I mean, obviously fueling mods you need to tune for, but when we're talking about things like intake and 3-port boost controller, recommend tuning for all of that stuff. So getting a base map from your tuner is always awesome. You can take it on over there and then let them do their thing.
Here, Muchee Lore 2017 STI base map.
So we've got the base map all loaded up. We should be able to start it now. That's assuming we didn't forget any hoses or anything with the fuel. So we've got a fire extinguisher ready over there. I think we should try starting it up.
Here's my house.
So you start up a lot nicer than I expected. It must have already been primed with fuel when we turned it on before. Oh, we got checked with it. So as you guys can see, we got the car started up just fine. So we're happy that it runs, there's no leaks, anything like that. Now we can sort of sit back, all the hard work's done. Tomorrow we're gonna be going to the tuner and letting them do their thing, see how much power it makes, and then we'll call this a wrap on the project. So overall, in summation, we did a stage 3 GrimmSpeed package on this with a couple little extras here and there, and some supplementary mods like the fueling stuff. It all went really well. The installs weren't crazy difficult. A lot of tight spaces and hard to reach nuts and bolts, but overall not anything you guys can't do at home. So this is something we wanted to show, again, not by a step-by-step process or a how-to or an install, more so how long it takes, what are the hardships, where do you get pissed off and where it's difficult, because you guys are going to be doing a lot of similar stuff, maybe not all the items at once, but the individual items in themselves. So again, we're really happy with all the manufacturers that we used, Cobb, Injector Dynamics, of course GrimmSpeed. Everything fit up really well. It's just goes to show that if you spend a little bit more money on the name brand parts, the guys that have done the R&D, that have built these kits to be plug and play essentially, you're gonna have a lot of an easier time rather than throwing cheap parts in, things that don't fit, things that don't work. When you start the car up, they leak, whatever. So buy once, cry once, do yourself a favor, just like we did, and the result, I think, is awesome. Well, we're gonna find out tomorrow on the dyno. Thank you guys for watching the series so far. We have one more episode left to go. That's going to be the final tune day for Muchee's car. But before then, we want to make good on a promise, and that is doing another giveaway. We already gave away the GrimmSpeed apparel package. Now we want to do something a little bit bigger, and this is actually an item that we installed on Muchee's car already, which is the external wastegate up pipe. So one of you guys can win this. It's super easy to enter. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, then hop on our Instagram page. We're going to have a post set up for this. All you have to do is comment #employeebuild, and you're going to be entered. Then next Thursday at the finale, we're going to go ahead and announce it at the end of the episode. So one of you guys can win. Best of luck and stay tuned.